I am the host, Richard Ravenbrook, a man, a life coach, and a spiritual mentor who has endeavored to find real spiritual truth and self-enlightenment with experiences in various ministry types, pagan traditions, and even magical paths. With a love for Mother Earth and a balance of life, I work to channel spirit and to help educate and mentor those striving to deconstruct from mainstream religion and to empower them to find the divinity within themselves and to the truth around them. The messages are focused on everyday life, creating an environment of real coexistence, a world of mutual respect, love, and dignity. The pagan preacher is all things, the preacher and the pagan, speaking from the wisdom of spirit. Welcome everyone, welcome back to another episode on this spiritual journey. Today I just want to ask, what is wrong with our country? What is wrong with people not understanding religious liberties, civil rights? Why is it that Christian nationalists are determined that this country is going to be run by the church and only by the church? That the idea of separation between church and state doesn't exist. And I speak to Louisiana right now because Representative Republican Governor Jeff Laundrie, if I'm pronouncing that right, I'm sorry, signed into law Wednesday that requires a poster-sized display of the Ten Commandments on every school wall. How is this going to be tolerated? You know, this isn't a criticism of any particular religion, but what it is an anger over the denial of the other religions. Why is our government promoting one religion while denying others the same privilege? You know, in these episodes of working to deconstruct and to walk away from the corruption of mainstream religion, the corruption of what we've seen in our country, because those that say they follow God, that follow the Christ, follow all of these things, majority have no idea what they are following, where they were going, having no idea of anything outside the 66 books that were chosen by the council to put in the Bible. But yet, we have politicians that want to push. Now, whether they're trying to give votes on the Christian side or what, I'm sure. But regardless, a representative, a senator, any politician, a president, cannot put his or her religion in the decisions they make for a country of multi-religions. The United States is not a Christian nation, nor has it ever been a Christian nation. Christian nationalists have tried to create that Christian nation. But thank goodness it hasn't been allowed. Christians tried to wipe out every faith, every tradition, and every country that has existed, and they still work to do that today. They send missionaries to China and places that aren't accepting of Christianity because they have their own traditions. And they don't realize that they are going in and destroying entire cultures. destroying entire traditions that have gone on for thousands of years, all in the name of, well, this is our God's will, or what they want to say is this is the God's will because there's only one God. When we know for a fact that is not true, because Scripture itself says it's not true. But yet we battle this and battle this and battle this in a land that is supposed to have religious liberty, religious freedom. But as I've said in many other podcasts and other episodes, that you can see just by driving down the street that there is a privilege to one religion that is not granted to other religions. And now, with it being legally required to put the Ten Commandments in our public schools, what about the students that have parents that are not Christian? Are you going to destroy their traditions too? Are you going to destroy their cultures? That their parents come from another country? Maybe they're Muslim, maybe they're Buddhist, maybe they're Hindu. And we start pushing Christian aspects within our public schools when religion has no place in school. Because school is supposed to be where we learn things like mathematics, reading, the basic essentials of survival in this country, and basically knowing how to live and breathe in this country. But religion is to always be separated from that. Religion is for home. Religion is for the parents to decide to teach and to mentor. But when the schools start taking it upon themselves, when politicians begin to use public schools for their indoctrination, they have crossed the line, and we must fight back. And as I've said, this is not against Christianity. When I'm speaking about the Ten Commandments, every Christian has the right to have their Ten Commandments. But if we're going to put those things in a public setting, you must also have all of the other religions. We must have all religions or no religion. And it keeps on this journey of deconstruction, of leaving this mainstream religion, because we can see its corruption. We see it even in this idea of pushing the Ten Commandments in schools, that the idea of real religious freedom, real religious liberty doesn't exist in this country. It seems like it only exists if you're Christian and it grants you privilege. But if you're a pagan, if you are someone that follows witchcraft, if you are a Muslim or Buddhist or Hindu or many of the other religions that are out there, many Japanese religions and Chinese religions, are we going to display all these? Are we going to adequately and equally distribute the knowledge of all these religions to give that element of choice? Or are we only going to do one religion and push that one religion? Anybody saying that's not unconstitutional is un-American and has no idea what the Constitution is even about. Because religious freedom can also mean freedom from religion. That you have the right to believe what it is that you believe. You have the right to live as your religion dictates for you to live. But you do not have the right to tell someone else how to live, or that they must live according to your religion, or how you feel that life should be lived, because it removes all elements of freedom. Is America the land of the free? The more I look, the more I see of churches, I see that the greatest enemy of peace in this world are religions like Christianity. Religions that absolutely will not coexist with other religions, but feel that they have to convert or destroy or remove. You know, I've heard different religious figures in different workplaces, and I've heard them say things like, well, we'll just pray them out of this job because they just don't quite fit in here, knowing that they're very good workers and they do their jobs very well, but their mindsets and their mentalities of religious aspects and philosophies don't match up to theirs, so they want them out. What kind of country do we live in? What kind of spirituality are you when you think everyone has to be like you? Even Christianity. You know, the Bible talks about choice. In fact, one scripture comes in mind when it says, "Choose you this day who you will serve." A lot of Christians just want to say, well, that's saying that you need to follow. You read it again if you have to. Choose. Choose. The whole element of spirituality is choice. You cannot dictate how people live. You cannot dictate what people believe. And you most certainly cannot force religion upon children in schools. I remember even as a child in my day, where they would come and hand out Bibles. And in those days, people thought that was good. Well, we need this, we need that. Until a revelation hit, an epiphany hit, that it isn't what we need, it's what we don't need. We need to offer our children the element of choice. If the only thing they're ever presented in life is one religion, or one belief, or one philosophy, have they made a choice, or have they only taken the only thing that they know? There has to be an element of choice for someone to say that I choose you, I choose this religion, I choose to walk this. Because you haven't chose anything when nothing else was in front of you. You've merely taken the only thing that was offered to you, when there's so much more. And I tell Christians all the time on these podcasts, and I've even mentioned it, in my days of the church, that the 66 books is only like 5% of scriptures. Do you really believe that the only thing there is to know about divinity is in that Bible? That nothing else exists in this world? Even if you're just a Christian and you want to be just a Christian, do you think that's all there is? That's all Jesus ever said? That's all Paul ever said? Or Timothy? That's all they ever said? You're fooling yourself. There's so much more out there. And if you read those things and you study those things just as much as you do the 66 books, you will begin to see the similarities in the other religions. And you'll begin to see the commonalities, and that there isn't this magnificent or grand division between all these religions. But in its foundation, many of them are just alike. That they followed the same things. They believed the same things. They may perceive them or have a persona that they envision them differently, but in essence they are the same. They are equal to each other. We cannot allow this to happen in our country to our children. We've got things going on all over this world right now. And what we want to do is we want to be able to deconstruct from this. Because we see the evidence We see the evidence in the church. We see the things that, the multiple doctrines and the multiple teachings. We see that Christians are okay with genocide, that they're okay with denying children school lunches, because we do realize, correct, that the same people that demand the Ten Commandments in school also refuse to offer children free school lunches. These are the same conservatives that do this stuff. Where do we draw the line? Where is to the Christians or to the churches of today's America, I would ask, where is your heart? Where is your godliness? That holiness that you're talking about? That we can look down the street and we can see homeless walking down the street, homeless people going hungry, starving to death and dying in the streets. Children hungry in school because they're forced to go to school or their parents go to jail. We're forced. Can you not see the evidence that this is not divine? For the people that keep saying, well, we need to put God back in America. No. What we need to do is for people to act like the divine that they are, the godliness that they are, that each of us, man and woman, walk in our godliness as we are, and be all that we can be within that divine essence of ourselves. Stop arguing about foolish doctrines and do what we know is right. We see things everywhere that aren't right. The church wants to give a certain percentage to the homeless or to the hungry. The rest goes for padded pews and stained windows, fancy sound systems, buses, but yet people go hungry down the street. Well, we give a portion to that. I think you need to read your Bible one more time, because it doesn't say to give a portion. It says to give it all. That is your mission in this world, is to help people, to guide people, to nurture people. It isn't just to take people's money and build a membership or this organization, this business, while you let things happen like the genocide of almost 20,000 Palestinian children, while you sit back and say that you still support Israel, even though it's been found guilty of war crimes, of extermination. If God granted these people this land of Israel, you say, well, they didn't colonize it, they own it. Then why are they having to murder for it? Why are they having to kill babies to obtain it? And I'm saying these kind of things, God, I want to show you why you're deconstructing, why you are wanting to leave that mainstream religion, because you can still believe in God. You can still believe in the Christ. You can still believe in some of the words the disciples said. But you have to take it and replace it where it's supposed to be. Reorganize it the way it's supposed to be. Not the way the council put it to fit their narrative. And then also go out and read the other things. Study the other things. Sit under different mentors. Listen to them. Take it with a grain of salt. Discern it. This world needs spiritual people. Real spiritual people, not religious people. It's religious people that want to put the Ten Commandments back in the public schools. They want everybody to be one religion because that empowers them. Because everyone believes one thing, they're following one thing, and the key word there is following. It ends leaders and creates followers. This world, this country needs leaders. We don't need God back in this country. God has already done everything that needs to be done. The problem is, we won't step up and do what we're supposed to do. We won't step up, whether we're afraid, or church or another organization or another religious institution says that we're not ready or we're not qualified. Don't listen to that, people. If you feel within your heart, if you feel the Spirit telling you to move forward into something that's given you the power and the drive to do something, then do it. I hear this all the time. Well, how do I get started? Just start. Start somewhere. Start small. Whether it's just talking to people on social media, building a website, opening a store, doing different things that you can get involved with people to have that chance to interact and just bless people and love people and bring people together. Spirituality, that's what it does. Religion divides. We see that all over the world. Religion is tearing this world apart. And now they keep wanting to throw it back into schools. Pretty soon we're going to want prayer back in school. When prayer's never been outlawed. Anybody can pray in school. But they want to put Christian prayer. But when they do that, they always exclude all of the other religions. And then if that religion pops up and says, well, what about us? Oh, we can't have that. Yeah, we don't believe in that. And do you realize that it's not for you to believe? It's not your religion. Nor is it your place to say that that has no place. Because in a land of the free, in a land of religious liberty, it does have place. Because in this country, in my mindset, you are free to practice your religion openly and without fear of persecution, without fear or, how do I want to say, without that fear of being ridiculed and put down. That I understand that you can be different than me. I can be different than you. We can believe in different spiritualities, but we can still work together in a community and we can help feed the hungry. Because no matter what religion you are, we all have the same desires to help people, to nurture people, to empower people, to bring our gifts and our blessings together and create better community. It's not about religion. 2,000 years later, religion has had its chance. And 2,000 years later, all we've got is division, war, destroyed cultures, destroyed traditions. We have religious trauma all over the place. We've got people so scared, so emotionally distraught that you almost can't get into their heart because they've been destroyed by religion, by people with good intentions, but not so good hearts, because they just don't understand. I hope this podcast has made a lot of sense, because I know this has me very, not only upset, but very encouraged to do more in this country. Yes, we still have to focus on the things outside this country and the needs. But let's not forget what we also have right here. Elections coming up. A lot of people know that, even me, that I'm running for U.S. Senate for Indiana. You know, I've never gone into politics. I probably don't stand a real big chance this time. But nonetheless, I am running for U.S. Senate. take a chance. Or take a chance. Well, okay, yeah, you can take a chance, but take the opportunity to look into this podcast. Look into what it is that I'm trying to do and what others are trying to do in this world. We can't go 2 miles down the road without seeing a church, but we don't see anything else. What other religions do you see when you go down the street? You don't see any. But you can't see the privilege of the one in a country that says we are free. We are not free. A Christian business that's worth billions a year that doesn't even pay taxes, but yet refuses to do what it is supposed to do according to their own religion. And I know I've kind of gone all over the place. A lot of people will say, well, if you're running for Senate, then you can't really put the politics in, just like you're saying. And I think if you really listen to the words that I'm saying, you'll understand that that's what I would not do. I believe everybody has the right to be their own self, their own religion, their own culture. And that's what this podcast is mainly about. It's not about just being angry at one particular culture or one religion. That it's about being angry that the others don't have the same privilege. And I want to give them that privilege. I want to open the door for everyone to be able to practice openly or not to practice anything at all. You may be one that wants your child to go to school and not have to be pounded by religion at all. And you have that right. You have the right to not have to worry about what your child is being indoctrinated into. Because a lot of times they'll say, well, the student asked, so I had to tell him. Well, they asked because you put it on the wall. You introduced that indoctrination to that child. And now the parent has to deal with that situation. And if they are of a different religion, then you could have completely complicated their entire family dynamics. You could ultimately even destroy their family. Take some time. Please share this podcast. Share this episode. Share the fact that, yes, I am running for Senate. Or I will run for whatever spirit in the future leads to. I just felt like I needed to do something. I needed to do more. Be blessed, everybody. And blessed be. Thank you, everyone. This is Richard Ravenbrook. From my heart to yours, I hope you are blessed. Please be a blessing. Share these podcasts. Share my short videos. Tell the world the work that's being done. Help me open the minds of those so closed. Help me bring into the fold those seeking truth and enlightenment. Be blessed.